It is party time. It is Monday. Welcome to another episode of the Chad Prather Show. We're in the mothership, which is Studio 22. You know we are bringing it to you. Of course, the Puppet Master Mark has kicked it out. He's gone. I was going to say he kicked the bucket, but that would cause too much controversy. My favorite person in the world, Kayla, is at the helm, driving us into the nether regions of all things insanity. And, of course, Super Chris Cruz and Let's Love Brandon at the helm. It's going to be a big day. I had a great weekend. Let me tell you, I sweated so much. It's 1,000 degrees in Texas, but I went up to Oklahoma thinking I would get a reprieve. Nope. It was hotter up there, and it rained all week long, and so we had an outdoor music festival. We did Troy Aikman's Highway to Henrietta. A lot of our good friends were there, including Blake Shelton, who headlined, and his new wife, he made the announcement on the stage. I don't know that anybody really knew that. They've gotten married. Gwen Stefani, she came out for a few songs as well. But we had a good time raising money for people in Henrietta. It was a good cause, and so we had a good time. I'm going to be in Shawnee, Oklahoma. We're headed back up to Oklahoma this Friday night, the Ritz Theater. Go to watchchad.com for all the fun stuff is. Come hang out with us. Going to bring some special friends. You don't want to miss it, and we're going to have a good time in Shawnee. Richest cowboy in Texas. I can go way out on the limb and say that is not a true statement. That is 100% not a true statement. Not even close. But we're having fun, Chris. Let me tell you something. We took the tour bus up there. Our normal tour bus was in the shop. So we took Willie Nelson's old tour bus, which is a 1986 Eagle. We have a Prevost, so we were taking the Eagle. A lot of artists have signed the wall in there. It was cool, a lot of history. It did not smell like weed. Like I expected like if a drug dog got on that bus, that it wouldn't know what to do. It would just sit down and whimper, right? Just have to stay right there. But it was completely clean. We had a blast, but thank God for that bus and the air conditioning because it was hot. And we played for Troy Aikman's private party the night before. For his good friends, and then Saturday started at noon, went till 11 o'clock at night. It went later, but we won't talk about that. But good times, and a whole lot more to come as we get into the summer months. I want to welcome to the show today a good friend of mine. He is one of the very few people that I trust as an elected official in Austin, Texas. State Representative Bryan Slaton, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Chad.
Dude, I'm glad you're here. There's so many things I would love to talk to you about, but let's get to the nuts and bolts of this stuff going on in Texas that I'm starting to see a trend. For instance, I was with Troy Aikman, who's a friend, and Troy, every now and then Troy's not a political guy, but occasionally these guys that are celebrities, they find themselves embroiled in some controversy, and they don't know. They're kind of oblivious to it, right? And people saw that I was with Troy, and they were like, well, there's a drag show at his restaurant on Sunday. And I go, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Now, Troy has a say, and I said, well, I'm going to go talk to Troy about it. And I did. And I said, well, the thing about it, I said, Troy, his name's on it. It's corporately owned and run, kind of like Jimmy Buffett is to Margaritaville, right? And I said, now, the one thing I said, it said that this drag show is 21 and up. Now, on the flyer, I pulled the flyer up. I looked it up. And it says 21 and up. But it was sponsored by Disney. Sponsored by Disney. And I said, so Sarah Gonzalez, Alex Stein, Jakub Bujans sent some folks over to it yesterday. And I said, I want to know if there's kids there. And they said they didn't see any kids there. So, again, we're seeing this trend blossom out because somebody else down in the Montgomery County area sent me a flyer yesterday of a drag show for all ages. And then, of course, we saw what happened at the Mr. place in Dallas.
And Sulphur Springs, Texas.
Sulphur Springs. I haven't heard about that one.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, there's a restaurant. The word now is they were just looking to help boost business, and they thought it'd be good, and they've apparently got a lot of backlash, and they've made it very clear. I believe you have to be 23 and older to get in. People 21 and older have to have somebody older than 23 to be with them. I don't know how they came
like renting
up with
a car.
Yeah, I don't know what all they did, but they have not backed off on the drag brunch, but they have definitely put up clear boundaries. There will be no children, and no one, even 21, can be there without someone older than 23.
Yeah.
But that's in Sulphur Springs, Texas. This isn't everything happening in Austin or wherever. It's everywhere.
This has got to be the proudest Pride Month I've ever seen. I mean, it is in your face as hard as can be, especially on that corporate level. So,
well, 20 years ago, right? Back when I was a youth and family minister, and this issue came up. We didn't call it the LGBTQ movement back then, but it was, hey, well, it's just what's happening behind two people behind closed doors, two consenting adults. They don't want to get in your business. They want to do anything. They just want to be left alone. And a lot of us knew. I had friends that were homosexual. I knew there were people in that they want it normalized. I mean, you got NAMBLA, North American Man-Boy Love Association. Yeah. They wanted to make that normalized. And there's some that didn't, but there's some that did. They wanted everybody to just accept it. And that's where we're at right now. And even to where on the Texas House floor during the third special session last, September, October, the Democrats were trying to demand that us Republicans don't use the words male and female. We had to use cis male and cis female.
Come on.
That's in Texas and Republican controlled state, and that's what they were trying to force on us, trying to guilt trip us. And I bet there were some Republicans that didn't get on the mic and caved to them, but I refused. I said the Bible says male and female. I'm done.
Good. And that's why I say, as I said in the intro, I want to remind everybody, Bryan's a state rep, and you're one of the few. You're one of the few that I believe in and trust. And when I say that, I mean on less than the fingers on one hand down there. People say, oh, Texas is so great. It's a conservative state, all these things. No, it's big government. It's problematic.
Hey, we're living on a reputation.
Living on a reputation. That is a great way to put that. And when you look at these drag shows, and I warned some people yesterday who sent me some messages because they were going to protest. I said, do not get engaged with the protesters out there who are calling everybody a pedo and a groomer that's walking towards the building, right? Because I've seen that. They're doing a lot of that. And I'm like, you are not helping the cause. I mean, if these are adults doing these things, that's one thing. You don't have to like it. You don't have to approve of it. But again, that's the message has been we're fighting for kids. You're doing something specific about that. You're introducing some legislation there in a bill. What's that about?
Well, we don't know exactly what it's going to look like. We've got 3 or 4 different options right now we're trying to put in place because, in Texas, you can't have a woman dance around in her underwear and kids putting dollar bills in her underwear and that be okay in Texas. But for some reason with drag, it apparently is a loophole, gray area or something. Let's say it's a gray area where law enforcement isn't acting on it. We need to do something to stop this. And what I've told people, let's just say all the drag or none of the drag are pedophiles or anything. But what we've got to acknowledge is with human trafficking, a large chunk of human trafficking involves adults wanting to have sex with minors. Okay. Then of course we got pedophilia, we got NAMBLA. Well, then go over here to drag. Let's pretend all those are separate. How they treat children. But with drag, what it does, it takes a child and it teaches that child that it's okay to have a grown adult dance, act inappropriate with them, be in their underwear, ask them to touch them, put things in their underwear. It's lowering that innocence and that guard that children need to have, that innocence, to where if something's wrong, they go tell mom and dad. But that idea, that's where it's wrong. It's teaching the kids, and you want to call it grooming. And I understand maybe not yelling at the vet may not be the best thing, but it's still teaching these kids that this is okay, and it's not okay. And like I say, everyone agrees it's wrong if an adult woman was to dance in her underwear and be with kids. Yeah. And why they think adult men and women's underwear is okay, I don't understand.
Well, I made a tweet about it. A lot of people push back. I can't believe anybody pushes back on this type of logic when I say if I were to take a child into a strip club, protective services would remove that child from my care, right? But we're going to do stuff like this and try to find all these ways to try to justify
it's insane. I've been telling people, to the gender modification of children, right? Imagine going to any city, I don't care, pick the city, and try to do a bike ride for children. And it's called the Good Old Days Bike Ride. And you go apply for an application, And when you give them the details of this bike race, the kids aren't going to wear helmets, elbow pads, or knee pads. City going to give us the permit? Oh, no way.
Yeah.
No way. But then you start talking about changing their gender, getting them around drag queens and all this. For some reason, that is perfectly fine and okay. It shows you how how far our society's gone.
Well, and you look at ways that, I mentioned a strip club. What do they call them now? Gentlemen's clubs, right? It's no gentleman in there, right? It's not a club for gentlemen. That's not what that's about. But you have to, again, you launder it in such a way that it makes it palatable to the general society and culture. It's wrong. You're calling evil good. And you're normalizing this, and you're peddling it out there. And this has become a watershed issue for me. I know that I've hired some people to do some research and writing for me because like our overtime, we're really focusing on these issues, specifically this one when we put our show out on Friday. Sarah Fields has been doing a lot of research for me. And this Friday, we're going to talk specifically and statistically about what this type of influence does to a child when they are hypersexualized or when they're sexualized at all. Because, again, we talk about hypersexualizing society, or I hear people say, well, sexualizing children. No. Any sexualizing of a child is hypersexualizing.
Yeah, it's totally inappropriate. I even got somebody sent me an article. One of the guys that was dancing at that Mr. has a rap sheet, and one of those things is prostitution. And just they're defending him being around the children.
Yeah.
Right. And telling those children he's a good example. And of course, they're not advertising, it's family friendly. Let me bring you around people with a criminal record.
Yeah.
And, that's not what they're doing. And here's the other funny thing, Chad. So you got the women's lib movement, right? Jerry Clower, right? Long time ago, he talked about that. And of course, they would talk about how, a woman is more than just sexual, or more than just housekeeper, more than, all that. And you look at what drag does to women. It literally just takes two aspects of a woman. It takes the sexual side and the very, crazy high fashion. They're wearing these gaudy dresses, lots of makeup. Those are only two things they take from the qualities of a woman. And the left is saying that is okay to teach children. Yeah. That's teaching children what a woman is. Only those two aspects. If anybody, which no one is, but if anybody was to come out and say, oh yeah, women are just, they have two purposes, and they had a Trump flag in their yard, of course, they'd be a horrible person. They need to be canceled and all this because they said a stupid thing. But of course, drag can literally present that in everything they do. And the left embraces that, what I would say is a demeaning characterization of women.
Yeah, and it's the ultimate, as you're saying, it's the ultimate objectification of women, right? It breaks it down to that least common denominator of, okay, a woman is about the way she dresses, the makeup she puts on, and what her genitalia entails.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. We've made a point on this show before about how, you go to the pride parades like in West Hollywood. They don't want drag queens participating in the pride parades because the transgenders think that that's an abomination against what their real medical and psychological situation and state is, right? So there's a big fight over all this stuff. But you bring this out and people say, I've had people say, I've got images of the kid putting currency, putting dollar bills, whatever denomination it is, in somebody's underwear, and they're like, that's photoshopped, right? It's not photoshopped, folks. Not photoshopped. I tell you what, let's go to a break. Hang tight. Got another guest for the next segment that I want to bring you back. Before we go to break, folks, when I see what's happening in the world today, obviously, you hear me talking about it, I'm very concerned. The system crashes. Everyone will suffer except for the folks who wisely invested in a long-term emergency food storage. We see this coming, folks. Food storage. I'm keep banging this drum. I strongly urge you to go to my special website, preparewithchad.com. You're going to find a special deal where you can save $150 on a 3-month emergency food kit from my friends over at My Patriot Supply. The food kit contains a wide variety of delicious meals, enough to last 3 solid months per person. Plus, these meals provide more than 2,000 calories a day. So you're going to get that strength and energy you need. Listen up, folks. This kit is something every American family will wish they had. Go to preparewithchad.com. Claim your $150 savings per kit. Your order is going to ship fast and free. It's going to arrive discreetly in unmarked boxes for privacy. Preparewithchad.com. What did I say? Go to preparewithchad.com, and we'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. As you know, we got a lot of great sponsors and folks that really help us to make this show available to you. Obviously, we can't do it for free, but we don't just bring anybody to you. If somebody's a sponsor of this show, we build a relationship with them. We vet them and their services. We try to build a relationship because we don't believe in referrals and resumes and recommendations as much as we do relationships. And so we try to build those relationships and make sure that whenever we bring an ad to you or a sponsor that you can enter into a relationship with them as well. And we do it with full integrity, knowing that these people are going to take care of you. So we're proud of that. Every now and then we get an opportunity to bring some of these sponsors onto the show. And I don't even think of them as sponsors. We get to introduce them as friends. And so you've heard us talk about Crowd Health. Crowd Health is a revolutionary service that is changing the game when it comes to how you pay your medical bills. And I'm excited to bring on the CEO of Crowd Health, Andy Schoonover. Andy, welcome to the show, man. You're on vacation. You look rested. You doing good?
I'm good, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you so much, and we appreciate what you guys are doing. It's more than a business to me. It's a service, what you guys are providing. How did you get started with this company, with Crowd Health, and what's the point, what's the purpose, and how do people benefit from it?
Yeah, it's not only a service, it's really is a mission for me.
Yeah.
And it started back a few years ago. I had sold my previous company, and as such, didn't have health insurance. So I thought that the only place to go was healthcare.gov. I was pretty naive at the time, so I went over to healthcare.gov and got a plan for me, my wife, and my two girls. And it was $1,200 for the four of us. And it worked great until I had to use it. My little one, who was one at the time, was having recurring ear infections, and so went to the ear, nose, and throat doc, who said you need tubes in her ears. So we went to the local hospital, got tubes in her ears. 15-minute procedure was $8,000, and I was like, holy crap, $8,000 for 15 minutes? At least I have health insurance. So little did I know I was going to get a note in the mail a couple weeks later, actually about a month later, and it's from my health insurance, and said it was medically unnecessary, so they weren't going to pay for it. So I got stuck with an $8,000 bill. I had to stroke that check to the local hospital, and as you can imagine, I was pissed. And after a bunch of research, I found out this is happening to a lot of people. I mean, you and I are in Texas. One out of every 5 claims for healthcare.gov plans in Texas get denied. So you have a 20% chance of getting denied for your claim. And I got denied. I was one of the 5, and it cost me $8,000. And I was like, man, that's just not right. It's not right that these health insurance plans can say, we'll take care of you, but then when you really need them, they don't. So that's how I started Crowd Health.
And you guys, obviously you jumped into this. It became a mission for you. And so many people have this type of nightmare scenario happen to them, and they become victims. And it really is truly, you're getting screwed by the government in a big way, as well as what I call healthcare tyranny. We've seen that over and over again.
Yeah.
You're over a barrel. There's nothing you can do. It's arbitrary in some ways. There's no way to justify these high prices. And it's, all these people are, whether it's the pharmaceutical company, the medical company, the doctors, all these insurance companies are all playing, this monopoly, and we're stuck with the bill at the end of the day. How did you get started, and ultimately, what do you guys offer?
Sure. You call it a tyranny, and I agree with that. I call it a cartel, and I think that's, even more accurate. I mean, you're right. All these people are kind of ganging up the folks like me and you and America. And actually, 250,000 people who had health insurance last year went bankrupt due to a medical event. I mean, you have health insurance and you're going bankrupt. Again, it's just not right. So the way that we do it is each one of our members put money into a bank account every month. It's an FDIC insured bank account. You put in a couple $100 a month. And then if somebody else in the community has a health event, so let's just say Chad's son has a broken arm, and it's $6,000, Chad would be responsible for the first $500 of it, or commit to paying the first $500 of it. And then we would go 50 to 55 other people and say, hey, would you throw in $100 for Chad's son's broken arm? So in essence, what we're doing is we're crowdfunding each one of these bills. And so then the question is, okay, well, why would somebody, voluntarily give me money for my health bill? Most we see on GoFundMe or whatever, and there's childhood leukemia or something like that. So why would I give to Chad's broken arm? It's not really a heart tugger. We have a generosity score internally that says, hey, how many times out of 10 have you agreed to help somebody else in the community? And we will display that generosity score, that reputation score, when you ask for a health event. So let's just say that I say no 9 out of 10 times. When my daughter needs money for a broken arm, Crowd Health will go out to everybody in the community and say, hey, Andy's daughter needs $5,500 for a broken arm, and he's a 10 out of 100 generosity score, which means he gives 1 out of every 10 times. The probability that that person is going to fund Andy, since I'm a crappy member of the community, is next to 0. So there's this reputation score, much like Amazon or eBay or Google reviews, right? Like, they know if you're a good member of the community or not. And that's what really drives this. So we've had a couple hundred bills that we've crowdfunded to date. We've crowdfunded them in an average of about 4 days. And it works really, really well. So me and my family is on it. Everybody at Crowd Health is on it. And we've taken care of $50 pediatrician bills and $200,000 brain hemorrhages. So it really is working great.
Generosity with a little altruistic peer pressure. I like it. That's a good plan.
I like it, right?
And you know what? If you get the bureaucracy out of the way, the bureaucrats out of the way, and it's going to work. And I've seen it happen over and over again, because the community out there, people do want to help each other, man. They do want to help each other. So I appreciate what you guys are doing. I want to let you get back to your vacation. Thank you. And but crowdhealth.com is where people can go, and they'll give you the first couple of months for like $99 right now when you sign up with our promo code. So Andy, thank you for doing what you're doing, man. God bless you, brother. Hey, what if you could have your health care put back in your own hands instead of being sold to the highest bidder? Politicians, big pharma, and health insurance companies make enormous profits at the expense of your own health. That's why Crowd Health works. It's not health insurance. You can see any doctor you want, pay the first $500, and submit any bills from there. The Crowd Health community takes care of the rest. No doctor networks, no huge premiums or deductibles. Best of all, no surprises. This is a game changer in the community healthcare industry. You pay one low monthly total. It's less than $200 a month for most people. Stop paying health insurance companies your hard-earned money. Go to joincrowdhealth.com now. Experience freedom from health insurance. Right now, you can get your first 6 months for just $99 a month. That's almost 50% off the normal price, and a lot less than a high-deductible health care plan. Go to joincrowdhealth.com. Use promo code CHAD. I spell it Chad. That's joincrowdhealth.com, promo code Chad. Crowd Health is not health insurance. It's a totally different way of paying for health care. Terms and conditions may apply. Welcome back, everybody. It's that time of the show where I wax eloquent, and just blow you away with all of my knowledge. Folks, it's a fairly regular occurrence on this program that I take you on a whirlwind trip of the imagination into a different place and time, and today is one of those days. It might not shock you to hear that the place and time we're visiting today seems so far back that it has gained near mythical proportions in the hearts and minds of those who wish they could return to it. You may recall that once upon a time, Donald Trump was the president of this country, and while he was president, we as a nation became energy independent. Yes, while the Greta Thunbergs of the world were railing about climate change and screaming, "How dare you?" we were literally fueling an economy that has not only been the greatest force for humanitarian good in the world, but also the greatest force for the good of the climate in the world. Now, it might seem counterintuitive, if you're stupid. These were the bright times, and maybe someday we'll see them again. But meanwhile, along came Uncle Biden, Lunchbox Joe, and without so much as buying the economy dinner, he bent it over the table and sniffed its hair. Not only are we not energy independent at this stage, we are in fact under the thumb of energy providers in other places around the world once again. Let's start with Saudi Arabia. which has historically been an ally of convenience because of their oil, despite their ugly record on human rights violations. Under the Trump administration, we were free from having to support them. And instead of liberals celebrating the fact that we weren't sending money to people who routinely throw gay dudes off the buildings, well, you know how the whole thing goes. But now, in the midst of a crisis, that was not only preventable, but could still be fixed if he just opened our drilling sites. Joe Biden is going hat in hand to start buying oil from Saudi Arabia again. And you might think that doesn't have ramifications beyond the fact that it might bring gas prices down temporarily, but upsetting the apple cart in that part of the world is always a shaky proposal at best. And we never toss over the apple cart harder than when we step back from the world-leading position that we fought to maintain. Now, guess which two countries just became besties largely over oil? Iran and Venezuela. They just signed a 20-year economic and military cooperation agreement. That's right. They've been helping each other out through the global economic crisis lately and decided to get the band back together. And guess what the thing they have most in common with each other is? They hate us. Now, look, part of that is happening because recent negotiations to re-up the Iran nuclear deal fell through. And that, of course, isn't an entirely bad thing. But I guarantee you that the majority of it is simply the following. The state of world politics is never more than one asshole or two away from a total worldwide war. The UN can't stop that. NATO can't stop that. Even we can't necessarily stop that, but we're the best hope of it, or at least we used to be. Now, when Joe Biden goes crawling on his hands and knees to Saudi Arabia to try to fix the gas price issue that's going to get him and his buddies thrown out of office instead of fixing the problem at home, what does that say to nations abroad who hate our guts? Folks, we can't afford as a nation to project this kind of weakness on the world stage. It has to stop. Because if it doesn't, we're just going to be dust in the wind. Yet another nation state that's fallen for future historians to look back on and wonder what went wrong. History is not going to be kind to Joe Biden. Where are we sitting here as the state of Texas? I mean, we're an energy leader, aren't we?
Yeah.
Don't we have a lot of stuff here we could provide some resources?
Yeah, most people would be really thankful for having all the natural gas and everything under our feet to help provide for our economy, our business, I mean, everything. And instead, you got people even in the state of Texas that still want to depend on green energy. And what I've tried to communicate to them, somebody makes money off producing energy. And if it's green energy, they're making money.
Yeah.
If it's oil and gas, we're making money. Why not be happy we have it? Every other state, let's just say this, every other country wishes, maybe except for Saudi Arabia, wishes they had what was underneath our feet here in Texas. And instead of taking advantage of that as Texans, we still have a plan to focus on green energy and prop up all these other countries and companies. It's a mess.
It's almost like saying, hey, I got $100,000 in the bank, but I think I'm going to go borrow it from the local gangster and then owe him.
Yeah, yeah.
And then maybe he'll come break my legs if I forget to make a payment.
And then once I pay off his loan, I'll talk to him, and tell him thank you, and I don't think I need it anymore.
No, we just go more and more. I mean, you look at this graphic that's up here on the screen, 48.7% gasoline, 37.8%. Airline fares. You see the numbers that go on and on. Utility gas service up 30%, 16% used vehicles, 14%. All the meat, the poultry, the fish, the eggs, on and on and on it goes. 4% for medical care down at the bottom. Everything is up. But again, these guys don't care about money. They don't care about deficits. They don't care about debt.
Well, when you get 10% for the big guy, it's really hard to worry about things like that, right? I mean, you just got to work that into your financial planning.
Thank God, put you on the spot here, Brian. Thank God we've got such a great conservative governor here in the state of Texas.
Did I laugh at that? I don't know.
I mean, you're headed down to the Texas GOP convention. Mm-hmm. And I've heard some stories of protesters that are already there actually defecating on the sidewalks outside of the building.
Well, that's what the left likes to do is, I guess, mark their territory. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I've heard that. One thing I will tell you, you know this, I'll be at my booth. I'm one of the few state reps that have a booth, but I'm going to have one there pushing this no Democrat chairman. I mean, think about it. In Texas, 2022, we're asking Republicans to not give power away to Democrats that they don't earn on Election Day.
Yeah.
What a crazy idea to ask Republicans. But it's an uphill battle to stop
again,
this.
you're dealing with the same Democrats that shirked their responsibility during the the session and took off to Washington D.C. to hide under Nancy Pelosi's skirt, and we're going to keep giving them power and say, and the ones who get to determine different things that are happening. Now,
Beto's a nut, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he is. He's a radical left-wing nut. And so I've been asking people, tell me what's different between Beto and the other Democrats in Texas, because they all want to be like him. They all want him to show up to their fundraiser. Why is he any different? And they're going to make them chairman in the Texas House.
Yeah, it's insanity. And, you saw the debacle after the Uvalde shooting when O'Rourke came in and interrupted the press conference. And I know that they were there to do a certain piece of business, but I do wish Greg Abbott would have looked him in the eye at least once and said something back to him, or at least just given him the eye. Look him in the eye.
You know what's interesting is when he did that, a lot of people didn't really talk much or get up. I mean, like Dan Patrick and Ted Cruz spoke to him, but they didn't move. The mayor of Uvalde was the hardest on him. He probably is a Democrat.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a mayor in South Texas, even though it's nonpartisan, he's probably a Democrat. But he told him to get out of there. Said, this is wrong. You're out of order. And if he wasn't on that walker, I bet he would have been off that stage getting him out of there.
So.
Right? I was like, there's a guy that's probably a Democrat. He's the one probably handling this appropriately.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens come November. A lot of people just assume Greg Abbott's going to be in for a third term, but we've seen what happens when you make those kind of assumptions. We saw it with the presidential election. So who knows? And they're going to funnel a lot of money in for the O'Rourke campaign. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And then we're going to have some crisis. I mean, there's going to be a crisis that, Biden and them. I don't know what it could be. I mean, monkeypox isn't really catching hold, but they'll do something to try to scare people into saying, oh, this is why we have to vote for Democrats. But their problem is they haven't fixed anything. The Democrats can't really look to voters and say, look at what we've done to fix this problem. They've literally created 10 problems for everyone they've tried to fix. Not fix, just tried. And what's sad about Republicans is we have just a ripe field for a harvest to show people that our ideas win. And we still are kind of sitting back doing nothing and not advancing our agenda. I mean, you hear people saying that, Governor Abbott and others, political figures are, worried about their presidential run. So they're maybe not as aggressive to protect Texas and Texans and like DeSantis is. And so I don't know. It's going to be a mess come November, guarantee it, right? Because the prices, everything is getting worse. People aren't going to be able to afford things. I mean, their pay isn't going up.
Right.
The small business owner they work for, they can't afford this. I mean, it's going to probably get worse before it gets better, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, if you just go buy an electric car, it will solve everything, right? I mean, again, I saw a video yesterday of a guy talking about how, again, that goes back to fossil fuels. I mean, you got to burn coal at some point in time to generate this energy to charge that electric car. So it's like trading cigarettes for smoking crack.
Well, don't tell the left that. They're not supposed to. That hurt their feelings.
Yeah,
so.
they're not going to drag it
they
that
haven't
far
worked
down
that into their equation yet.
Yeah, they're not deducting that syllogism. Let's sell something here, Chris, before we go to a break. The 3-week rule, you hear me talk about, it's the best financial advice I can give you. Wait 3 weeks to buy that new car. Wait 3 weeks to refinance your home mortgage. Wait 3 weeks to finance any major purchase. 3 weeks is because that's how fast the average ScoreMaster user takes to boost his or her credit score, an average of 61 points. Listen, folks, 61 points added to your credit score can save you tens of thousands on everything you finance. ScoreMaster technology was developed by credit data scientists to boost your credit score higher and faster than you thought possible. It is so easy. It just takes about a minute to get started. You don't have to wait months to try for your best credit score. Get it boosted up there. Try ScoreMaster today. See how many plus points you can add to your credit score. Go to scoremaster.com/Chad. Scoremaster.com/Chad. I'm going to tell you one more time. Scoremaster.com/Chad, and we'll be back. I can only imagine, Brian, the emails and voicemails and stuff like that you get. from you played one from your you shared one with me from your personal cell phone. Of somebody talking about how let's do it. Do you mind?
Go for it.
Can we do it? I mean, it's on your personal phone. Here, let me turn the volume up here.
Me and the gentleman on the phone, we agreed on something. Go ahead.
Here we go.
Hello, I'm just calling as a Texan born and raised, letting you know that your views on drag entertainment and our pride festivals with children, your views are stupid, ugly, and ignorant, just like you and your entire Republican Party. Now, I just want to let you know there are bigger problems than children seeing drag, because let's get real, we're just princesses, and that's something you will never be. Get rid of guns in schools, and you'll have a lot safer of a world. So we hate you, we hope you lose, and I never want to see your face again. Bye.
Yeah, so apparently I'm not going to be a princess.
You're not going to be a princess.
I mean, I would like to learn that in person, not through voicemail.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
All your dreams have been dashed and scattered on the rocks.
I was like, I mean, I didn't, but I should have called that young man back and told him we agree. We see eye to eye.
But that guy left the voicemail. He said, drag entertainment. He referred to it as drag entertainment and talked about, involving children. And I mean, they're unashamed about it and what they're going to do. They have every intention of again, making sure that kids are exposed to this.
Oh, yeah. Well, there is NAMBLA. It exists, North American Man-Boy Love Association. All through the past 30 years, every time there's been a push to advance anything with the gay agenda, they've been a part of it pushing. So you might find, because I had one call from a guy. He told me he was a homosexual from Dallas County, and he said he totally agreed with me that drag was not appropriate for children. He thanked me for the idea for the bill. So you're going to have some people that realize kids don't need to be around this. But the problem is there's an element in there, this NAMBLA, they see an avenue, and they're hopping on to advance it further. And like I say, they have advanced their agenda further than Christians have held on to their values. Look at look at where we're at. I tell people this. I read a book somebody had. I can't remember the name of it right now. It was like 20 years ago. I think maybe The Gospel According to the Simpsons or something. But what I was talking about is how in the 90s, you remember there was a big stink for Southern Baptists. Couldn't let your kids watch The Simpsons and all that. Yeah. And then fast forward to today, it's probably the most family-friendly show on television.
100%.
Nuclear family. There's no main LGBTQ character. I mean, it's crazy how we've changed.
Yeah. Yeah, we've drifted so far from all of that stuff, and you're right. So you're talking about a subcategory of a category. There's an element in these communities. Look, there's an element. I saw a picture yesterday. Somebody sent it to me of people are holding an F Biden's flag up, and they've even got children out in front of there, and the women are scantily clad, turning their rear ends towards whoever they were. And they're all flipping off, including the children are flipping off whoever the protesters are. And I was like, that's equally wrong.
Yeah.
Right? That's still exposing the children to vulgarity and a behavior that's should not be acceptable in decent society. So, there's an element in every group that's out there that you're just stupid. I mean, they're just stupid, for lack of better terms.
You still can't get them to say it's wrong.
Right.
When they send you the pictures, or like me, they've tagged a bunch of pictures on Twitter and everything of kids at Hooters.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm like, okay, great. We start with the issue at hand. Is it wrong for children to be in drag? Is it wrong for them to be there at the event, doing it, participating with them and all that? Is that wrong? They won't answer. Right. They just want to bring up all this other stuff. And it's and it's kind of how conversations go in America. No one ever talks about an issue, finishes it, and moves on to another topic. They just keep throwing in all kinds of mess the whole time. And it's like, we're not accomplishing anything. You're not saying this is wrong. And in matter of fact, you're saying this is wrong. A restaurant where women dress like this, you're saying this is wrong. So why is that worse than this? And then, of course, there's no explanation, no conversation, just maybe some death threats and things like that.
What's the best way for people to help you? Obviously, keep you where you are, keep you in office. We know that. And I encourage people that they need to do it. Look, you're not a career politician. Mm-hmm. That's the beautiful thing about what you do and who you are.
Don't put your hope in man.
Yeah. I mean, you've got your values that are in the right place, but I think you were the person in that spot for this season, the right person. Can people help you at this point as far as this bill goes? Or
well, sure. One, you can go find me on Facebook, Twitter, follow me, help me, share it with others. And as we get closer to session, we're going to need help getting other Republicans on board. The first step, we're going to have to get Republicans to stop giving Democrat chairmen away if we're going to do this. They can go to bryanslaton.com, and if they wanted to donate, they can do that. And that's ways they can help me directly, but also how they can help if we just had more people praying, asking God, what do you want me to do? And just do it.
Yeah.
Be willing to go do whatever it is, because our country's not going to fix itself. It is not.
Well, Chris likes to surprise me right about now with a TikTok, and based on the topic of this episode, I can only imagine what we're about to see. Let her rip.
Okay, story time. So I'm a preschool teacher, and we have no curriculum. It's whatever I want to teach, whatever my co-teacher wants to teach, but we do get planning. We get to figure out what we want to teach. But we've been wanting to plan a field trip to the Seattle Center. We're right in Queen Anne. So we are going to go to the Seattle Center. And I decided, well, let's go on my birthday. That would be fun. It's a fun thing to do on my birthday. Why not? And then we decided, okay, yeah, we're going on my birthday. And I'm like, one of my co-teachers said something, well, we should have them wear the same color so it'll be easy to see them. We are having parents come to help, but I was like, why don't we just get the rainbow lays from Dollar Tree? And that's semi part of my gay agenda. This is my gay agenda. I don't know what you guys think the actual gay agenda is, but my gay agenda is having my students wear rainbow lays on my birthday as we go to the Seattle Center.
There you go. I mean, more and more we're just seeing this stuff. I mean, God only knows who are sending their people, their kids.
Makes you not even want to have TikTok.
Makes you definitely don't want to send your kids to school, but I don't know what school one she's at, or I don't know who is sending their kids to be under her tutelage.
Think pre-K. Yeah. Pre-K. This is 4 and 5-year-olds.
Right.
You're trying to help them write their letters, numbers, because I have a 4-year-old. He's about to be 4 in a few weeks. You're trying to help them put words together. Just communicate, learn how to interact with their friends, the basics, what childhood. You want them, and the fact she has an agenda, and especially if you're a Christian, to think her agenda is not concerned with his development as a child. She wants him to do something contrary to your biblical values. Yeah. I mean, golly.
That's what it is. It's a crazy world.
Yeah.
Hang tight. We'll be right back. All right. Losing my voice. Thanks, Bryan, for being on the show. BryanSlaton.com. Make sure you're following him on all the socials. BryanSlaton.com, that one-stop shop for that District 2 guy right there. Check out everything he's doing. We're praying for you.
Thanks, Chad.
And God bless you, brother, and appreciate you and your friendship as well. The place I want you to go, watchchad.com, where all the fun stuff is. Find us out on the road. We're out having fun. You might as well come have some fun with us. We're trying to keep ticket prices as low as possible so you guys can come out there in this crazy economy and still have a few laughs. Come on. Go to blazetv.com/Chad. Use promo code Chad and get our overtime. It's important. We're sharing some important topics. I want you to join us. We will see you tomorrow. We love you. God bless you. Talk to you then. Bye.